Welcome to episode 18, week 18.
Yeah.
The last regular season game, last regular season podcast of the Golden Round Buzz podcast with Chris, Damon, and Sal. Prayers up on a speedy recovery, healthy recovery to Damar Hamlin, Buffalo Bills player. He got released from the hospital with his family. I think he will attend the playoff game this weekend as the Bills take on Miami. So prayers up on a speedy and healthy recovery to Damar Hamlin.
Definitely.
Sal, with that being said, the Rams are now 5-12, the last regular season game of the year. They lose to Seattle 19-16 at Lumen Field. Thoughts?
Wow. I mean, it would have been nice to go into the offseason with a victory, but that didn't happen, of course. But 5-12, I mean, who would have predicted that, huh?
The most losses for a defending Super Bowl champion in NFL history.
That may be a record that won't be broke for a long time.
You know what's funny?
I don't think teams will suffer that bad, or, like what the Rams did.
The Rams had a record last year, the first team to host the NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, 12 losses, the first team defending champion with the most losses. Tell me what you think about the game yesterday. I got my own thoughts, but you go first.
Well, whenever the Rams are struggling, I always find something to be, something to build on. And I love the way the Rams are running the football. Cam Akers running hard. There were some plays that, that could have been made that, the Rams, that game was actually a winnable game if you would have eliminated a couple of mistakes. But Seattle just hung in there and made the plays at the end when it mattered most, and they were able to, win that game. But I hate the Seahawks, so it was tough to take.
So you know what bothered me? The first play of the game, Jalen Ramsey gets an interception.
Right.
That set this and then the Rams don't score. They score a field goal. If they score 7-0, I think they take the heart of Seattle. Because they get a field goal, Seattle's like, okay, we can get this. And there's a lot of miscues the Rams had, like Robert Rochelle could have, the special teams could have down the ball at the twice. The rookie Carnell Lake had an interception, drops it. Jalen Ramsey has 2 interceptions. I don't know if the Rams scored the field goal on one possession, then I don't think they scored another field goal on the other possession. It's just like, demoralizing. It's like, man, like what could have been right, could have beat them. You know what I'm saying? They gave us the game. It was there for the taking.
But those plays could have been made, but these are all reasons why the Rams are 5-12, right?
Yeah.
Because last year we were making those plays. This year we're not. So that's the difference between having a winning record and a losing record. I mean, we haven't had that many takeaways this year, and last couple of games we were able to get a couple of them. But you have to score touchdowns. You're not going to beat anybody in the NFL with field goals. That's not going to work. So, but it would have been nice. I wanted that win really badly for Bobby Wagner. It would have been nice for him to be able to at least get the last laugh against Seattle.
And also that winner would have knocked Seattle out the playoffs. Now we're gonna watch them and the Niners play each other. I'm not going for anybody. I don't care.
It could be a blessing.
It could be a tie. Let it be a tie. I don't care. I don't know. I'm not gonna root for anybody in that game because they're both our division rivals. So who I look like applauding for somebody, I can't.
Yeah. But it's crazy. Seattle plays 49ers pretty tough.
I know. So this would be the
anything can happen. Especially if the weather's bad or anything can happen. I mean, Seattle's kind of built for those sloppy games. So. They were, it's amazing the Rams were able to compete really with what the Rams were working with versus Seattle.
I got a couple stats for you. So Baker Mayfield played in 5 games. His record in those 5 games is 2-3. He threw for 850 yards, 4 TDs and 2 interceptions. What do you think about that?
Well, it's really hard, because you just have a sample size of 5 games. But when we Ram fans watch the games, there was a couple of throws, that he missed here and there. But then there was some drop passes also, and sometimes it takes a while to get build that chemistry with the receivers. So I kind of see a bunch of little intangible things that he would clean up next year if he was able to stay on the Rams.
Beginning of the year, you said you thought Chemicals would rush for 1,000 yards. I said Darrell Henderson. I said they won't rush for 1,000 yards. You came close. Cam Akers rushed for 786 rushing yards the whole year and 7 TDs. And he missed, 3 games?
3 games.
Sal, he rushed those 3 games. Maybe he gets to the last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
He broke 100 yards for the 3rd time. The last running back to do that for the Rams is Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
So Cam Akers, what do you think about him going to the offseason?
I'm excited. I think that, the way the Rams handled it is kind of rough, but it showed a lot of character on his part. And, to be able to put everything behind him and still play for the Rams. And I think that, I think that's all behind him. He's a great runner, though. I mean, he can do so much. I like him as a receiver coming out of the backfield, too. But I think that I definitely would invest in him, but I would bring in a veteran back also just to kind of spell him here and there. But, yeah, I would build my offense around him. I think he could do that.
One of the most important questions in Rams Nation, Rams World, Rams whatever, will Coach McVay be back, Sal? What do you think about that? All those rumors going on. He's done coaching. He needs a break, a mental break, and all this stuff. What is your opinion on that?
Boy, that's a tough one. But where there's smoke, there's fire, and unfortunately, my heart feels like he's gone. And I think that a lot of times coaches kind of start putting feelers out early on. They start their own rumors. But I think for him, I think that when you watch this season, it was a tough season for all of us, including the fans. But when you watch the game, there was times when I know the Rams had injuries. I know there was a lot of reasons why the Rams were 5-12. But sometimes it just didn't look like they were all on the same page. And I think that he went through a lot too, losing his grandfather and getting married and
his wife's
family in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, and then losing is never, he's never really lost. So you go through a lot of emotions, but it's funny when people think about Coach McVay, they're like, how could you be burned out? You're only 36. But, he eats, sleeps, and breathes football. And when you live that way, you can't turn it off. It's like an obsession. He loves football. And that's why I tell people, I said, us fans are disappointed when the Rams are losing, but I know that he is 10 times worse than what we're feeling.
He's a human being. He's 36 years old, just got married. I'm sure his wife wants kids. I'm sure she wants to go on vacations. Yeah. I'm sure she's going to be like, okay, 4-3 defense, I got to go up against this week. Season's over. He needs to move on with his life if that's his choice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He 5 years, 2 Super Bowl appearances, won one.
Yes. I
believe 2 NFC Championship games, won those. And he lost this year, 5-12. 1 year he missed the playoffs with a winning record. So hey, if it's time to move on, it's time to move on. With that being said, what do you think about Sean Payton coming? If he moves on, Coach McVay moves on, Sean Payton to the Rams or
that would be my
Raheem Morris to the Rams?
My first choice would be someone who has an offensive mind, similar, that likes to attack, real aggressive. You have to fit the mold of LA. Los Angeles is a difficult place. Over the years, the Rams have had a lot of coaches come and go, but McVay, he's more than a coach. He's a culture. McVay, he's the face of everything with the Rams, the draft, everything, coaching, and just the whole vibe. The way he was able to assemble the Rams as a team. I've never seen a coach come in and put his fingerprint on everything. So it's not as easy as losing a guy like McVay and just adding another coach or hiring another coach. No, it's going to be difficult. You'll have a guy come in and you'll give him 3 years to kind of build his team, to get his players. And it's tough in Los Angeles. Those 3 years, we're trying to build a fan base. So you have to bring in the right coach, someone that can excite the fans and can get the job done. So I think that Sean Payton would be on top of, the want list, I think, for the Rams.
And Sean, Coach McVay created We Not Me, and he got us one of these bad boys. I'll never forget.
Oh yeah, the only coach
close up on
to
the
do
Super Bowl
that,
championship hat.
Yeah, the only coach to do that. Yeah.
Look at this beautiful hat, Super Bowl champion. Look at this beautiful Super Bowl champions. We'll never forget this, Sal.
Oh, look at that! Look
at this beautiful hat. Look at this. I know you guys want one out there.
Yeah.
All you non-Ram fans. Look
Yeah.
at this. What do you think the state of the Rams is, Sal, going into this offseason?
State of the Rams. I think it's going to be, Coach McVay was so impactful, not only on the Rams team, but in the city of LA. He was really well known. People liked him. You bring in another coach, I think that it's so hard to understand. But I just hope whoever the Rams do bring in understands, the fan base of Los Angeles. Right now, the Rams are trying to build a fan base. I mean, they have a beautiful stadium. When a new guy comes in, what is he looking at with Stafford? Does he want to? Is Stafford his guy?
Yeah.
You have a guy who's returning for his 15th season in the NFL. 14, 15 seasons in the NFL. It kind of takes its toll, right? You might want to come in with a fresh start. You might want a young quarterback. You want to draft your own guy. There's a lot of things that the Rams are going to, have to answer. But I just hope that person comes in and it's a name that would excite the Rams. I think even when you put it out there that you're possibly thinking about leaving, you pretty much already left because emotionally, these players, they're listening to you. They're hanging on to your every word. And if you're putting out feelers that you're kind of halfway there, or you have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it's not good for the fans or for the team. So I think the sooner he decides, what he wants to do, then I think I'd be kind of excited to see what direction the Rams move in. But like you say, I mean, the only coach to bring the LA Rams Vince Lombardi Trophy, so he'll always be my favorite coach.
Yeah,
I like George Allen, Coach Vermeil and everything, but to have the Vince Lombardi in LA is one that I'll never forget.
We'll see in a couple of weeks.
Definitely.
Let's talk about some Week 18 games. The Chiefs beat the Raiders. Of course, they beat the Raiders. You see that play they did, the ring around the rosy play? They're just clowning the Raiders. Like they can do anything like.
That was embarrassing, right?
Yeah, they just did it to do. The Jaguars win the AFC.
I was excited
by
about
being
that. I was happy
Titans.
for Trevor Lawrence. I've always been a fan of Trevor
Last year they had the
Lawrence.
worst record. This year they have they won the division.
They got a good coach, though, right? I mean, he was able to come in and turn them around. I always thought Peterson was a good coach,
And the Bills, of course, DeMar was watching. He's tweeting during the game. The first play, the Bills New England Patriots game, the Bills run the kickoff back, 96 yards, and then a guy ran it back 100 yards.
Yeah.
That's,
in one game, isn't that amazing?
That is crazy. And then the Bills won that. DeMar was tweeting while it was going on and stuff.
So speaking of the Bills, what did he say? If you're just a casual fan of the NFL, you would be pulling for the Bills to win it all, right? I mean, because of what they went through. And so I kind of have a soft spot.
That's a rallying cry, like a rally.
That's what I said. And football sometimes things like this will
can
really
uplift the team.
Yeah, and I think the timing couldn't have been better. But Buffalo fans are, some of the classiest people. They're rowdy, but they love their football.
Raised
but
$8
there's
million
something. That was amazing.
$3 million. So big shout out to Charles, Buffalo Bills fan. Charles Wheat, Sean, Buffalo Bills fan. The one that came in, Rich, Buffalo Bills fan. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs. See if you guys can bring it home. For your.
I'll be pulling for Buffalo again.
Yeah. The Dolphins sneak into the playoffs. They beat the Jets. Whatever, 11-6. They play the Buffalo Bills in the first round.
But I'm just happy that they were able to make the playoffs. For everything they went through. I mean, with that Tua situation, it's still tough to take, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were on their third quarterback for the season, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they had Bridgewater, played a little here and there, but I don't know. It was exciting to see, a young guy come in and be able to win that big game for them and get them into the playoffs. They haven't been in the playoffs in a while, so I kind of like to see new faces. If it's not the Rams, of course, I really don't care. But there's some teams. I always watch every game because it's the NFL. But sometimes I'll go for the underdog.
The Chargers lose to the Broncos, but the Chargers play their starters with nothing to win or gain, lose. Why did Brandon Staley? 3 players got hurt. Bosa, Williams, and I think our defensive tackle got hurt. Why'd you do that? Why'd you play? You have nothing to lose. You have nothing to win. Game.
Well, and I think what's even worse was his explanation. He's like, well, you don't have that many players to choose from. Come on, guy. You got to set your starters down. Mike Williams, players that have been banged up throughout the season, why would you even have them on the field?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, come on, dude. You're playing Jaguars. I don't get it. The preseason, you don't play him. Why you go play him in the meaningless game?
Well, you want to be, you want your team to be at its strength, going into the playoffs.
Mike Tomlin won again, winning record again. 9-8, like the last 50.
Yeah, they didn't make the playoffs.
He's never had a losing record. And then the game, the upset of the night of the whole season. Detroit beats the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. Some guy named Jared Goff. You ever heard of him before?
Yeah, I was happy for Goff. I was always a big Goff fan. I just liked how he was. The Rams drafted him in 2016, and we kind of saw him, grow up in LA. And but I'll never forget what he did for, the LA community, the Rams, all the school, the school systems, and he was just always a classy guy. And sometimes when the Rams traded him, I knew that going to Dan Campbell or going to the Lions would probably be the best thing for him and for his career. Because I knew that, time to take off the training wheels and let him, fend for himself. And Campbell is not, you couldn't describe him as shy and sensitive. He's going to, if you're playing bad, he's going to call you out. He's not going to coddle you. So I think Jared Goff has grown a lot from the beginning of the season to now, topped it off in Green Bay. Beautiful.
Let's talk about this week's playoff games. Tell me who you got. Jaguars versus Chargers.
I would say I'm going for Jaguars.
I'm going for the Chargers.
Really?
Yeah, I'll go for the Renters, yeah. I just want to see, I don't know, something about them. I'm like, okay.
I like Jaguars because, they're an exciting team. They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
The Chargers, I just don't, just shut down SoFi. Rams aren't playing, shut it down for the year.
Baltimore and the Bengals meet for the third time.
Oh, God,
Bengals. Usually we play a team three times. You never know what can happen. Again.
But Burrow is playing good football right now, and he's really leading the team.
Another team meeting for the third time. Miami and Buffalo. Who you got? Buffalo.
Yeah, but that would be hard for Miami to repeat and to try and get another victory, squeeze out a victory with a young quarterback like that. So Buffalo, definitely.
Niners in Seattle. I don't care. I don't know who you got.
I wish it could end with them both losing, right?
I hate to say this. I want Seattle to win, obviously.
Well, I'd go for Seattle.
Yeah, if I have to pick somebody, I'll pick Seattle.
Yeah. But I think the 49ers,
they're going to destroy
49ers are the best team in the NFC, I would say. Most consistent team.
Giants versus Vikings.
Giants.
I think the Giants win too. Minnesota doesn't do nothing.
The Vikings, I don't know what it is. I just don't like the way they're built. They seem too much of a finesse team. I like teams that are a little more physical and can kind of mix it up here and there, and the Vikings aren't.
The night game, the marquee game.
Boy.
Dallas meets Tom Brady. Tom Brady has never lost to Dallas Cowboys.
I know, isn't that amazing?
And they meet in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Wow. It's going to be a close game, but I would probably say, Tampa Bay wins.
Who are your picks for the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl, I would say, I think it's going to be the 49ers and maybe Kansas City.
Same as me, huh? And the Chiefs win it?
Chiefs win it. Yeah, Chiefs win it again.
So who do you think the coach of the year is in the NFL?
Coach of the year. Boy, I would probably say
people are saying Dabo. People are saying the guy from the Jags, Doug Peterson.
Yeah, but probably I would say Peterson's probably a good choice.
The Jaguars.
Yeah, for Jaguars.
They had the worst record.
He turned the team around in one season.
Yeah.
There was a lot of damage that was done. The quarterback could have really been destroyed by some of the things that he went through, but for a guy to come in and turn the team around in one season is pretty impressive.
MVP, who do you think?
MVP for the season, I would probably say, God, that one's a tough one too. There's a lot of
people. I think that comes down to three: Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but they're easy to pick.
I say Patrick Mahomes. Me personally.
Yeah, but what kind of weight does he carry? For the MVP, right?
Because everybody said Josh Allen. But then Jalen Hurts. Everybody Jalen Hurts. But then you miss a couple games.
Yeah, I think part of being a valuable player is also being available, and
that's what I'm thinking.
So I would probably settle with I would go with Mahomes too.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? You got to be fair, and then also Coach of the Year. Kyle Shanahan, he's doing a lot. With the third string quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about him because everybody said Peterson, coach of the Vikings, ex-Ram Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never forgot about Shanahan.
But Shanahan, really, a third string quarterback, and to win the division and be, they were this far away from being the number one seed.
Third string quarterback, the last pick of the draft.
Yeah, Mr.
Relevant. Mr. Relevant's hardly ever make it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So Niners are looking pretty.
But that's a big tribute to coaching. To be able to have them prepared and I mean, the stage wasn't too big for them.
Now there's 3 teams going into with winning streaks. I believe it's the Bengals, Bills, I know it's the Chiefs, and Niners.
And 49ers, yeah.
So what do you think about? Some people say they should lose before they go into playoffs. Like the Rams lost a game last year, and then they win, and then they went on a winning streak because nobody can lose now. You're done. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think about?
Who will be the first team to lose?
I mean, those teams are all hot: Niners, Bengals, and Bills.
But that's why the NFL is so amazing because you don't play a series. You play one game. You only have halftime to make your adjustments, right? So, of those 3, I would probably say that the Bengals will be the first team to lose.
Oh, because they have to play. Oh, yeah, if they beat the Jags, they have to play KC or the Bills, and so we'll see.
So I think they'll be the first one. Yeah, but the 17-game schedule was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Right. I mean, if we would have just won a couple of games here and there, it could have been different. But I don't know. Next year, when you look at the NFC West, there's going to be some new faces, right?
Yeah.
We could possibly have 2 new coaches in the NFC West.
Cliff Kingsbury and that.
Coach McVay,
Big shout out to everybody this whole year who's been guests on our podcast. Big shout out to Sean, Buffalo Bills fan, DeMarge, Tampa Bay fan, Jennifer, Niners fan. Big shout out to the Dallas. Did no Dallas fans come in? No, we didn't have no Dallas fans.
No Cowboy fan. No.
We had Ernest come in. Big shout out to La Brea Bakery, the sponsorship. Big shout out to them. Big shout out to all the viewers out there, subscribers out there, the love we get out there. Just everybody.
Yeah.
Our next episode will probably be a Super Bowl episode. So whoever makes it, we're going to use you as a guest. So if your 2 teams makes it, now if the Jaguars make it, I don't know any Jaguar fans. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But big shout out to all of our guests, everybody who helps us do this. Big shout out to J Pro,
definitely.
the director. Big shout out to Farron Kid.
Yeah.
Big shout out to everybody who's helped us, commented, subscribed, shared. With that being said, the last episode of the Go Around Buzz podcast with Chris, Damon, and Sal, live and direct from the Go Around Barbershop in Westminster, California. Rams house. Whose house? Rams house. Woo!
Yeah.